Have you ever arrived home to discover your entire life shattered? My wife opened our marriage without my approval while I was deployed. I felt betrayed and devastated, but instead of breaking down, I decided to rebuild my life without her. But before we get started, please subscribe to our channel. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and it is feasible with your help. Let's get started. I, 37 male, have married Sharon, 39 female, for 6 years, and have known her for 10 years. I work in the Marine Corps, so I am deployed for 6 to 7 months of the year. I agree it isn't easy, but we both understood what we were getting into. Nonetheless, after 6 years of marriage, she unexpectedly throws a bombshell. We were having our typical date night via video conference, drinking wine and eating steaks, when she said, "I have something to say. Let's begin our marriage." I nearly choked on my drink. I laughed aloud, believing it was a joke or that I had misheard. But when I glanced at her, she appeared serious. I attempted to make a joke and lighten the mood, but she wasn't having it. My attitude annoyed her, and she asked, "Are we done? Can we return to serious talk?" I set down my wine glass and asked her what was going on. She stated, "I've been thinking a lot about this and have concluded that possibly opening the marriage is our greatest option. We've been married for 6 years and I still feel like I'm living a single life. It is nearly hard for any woman to control her urges for 6 months at a time. It's simply too much. I've been in this loop for more than a decade. I nearly forgot how it felt to have sex anytime I wanted. Half of my life is spent craving it." This is a summary of her rant. I listened intently, hoping for some surprise. By the end, she appeared frustrated, as if she'd been holding it in for a long time. I was utterly shocked. I needed to find out where this was coming from. I told her I understood how difficult it was for her and appreciated everything she did to keep our relationship intact, but my job required this distance. She was annoyed and not in the mood for a sensible conversation. I proposed we discuss it later, but she refused. She wanted to resolve it right now. She began raving again about how lonely she feels most of the time, how it's hard to spend special occasions like birthdays and anniversaries alone, and how the worst part is nursing her illness or going to the doctor alone. She broke down while saying this. I could tell it was difficult for her. But what could I do? This is the life we signed up for. She admitted she didn't anticipate it would be that difficult and lonely. This was not the first time she had felt this way. Some well-wishers urged that we have a baby to keep her occupied during the early years of our marriage. However, Sharon was not prepared to raise a child independently, and I understood that dumping such an enormous responsibility on her was not an option. Adding to the problem would be counterproductive. So we resolved to have children when I got a desk job, which has yet to happen. I asked her if she was breaking up with me. She said, "No, I love you. I could never leave you. I want to grow old alongside you. But I'm about to become 40, and in a few more years, I'll enter menopause. I have very little time to appreciate my sexuality. Half of my golden years are spent waiting for you. I do not want that. I want to live a fulfilling life and die without regrets." At this moment, I realized she wasn't asking my permission. She was informing me. I asked her, "What do you want?" She stared into my eyes and said, "I want to start this marriage." Sharon remarked, "I have wanted and they must be addressed. I'm doing this whether you like it or not." This circumstance might easily stress out any guy. I was no exception. I took a big breath and inquired, "Do you want to sleep with other men while still married to me?" She nodded. I wondered how this would alleviate her loneliness. Would those men look after her when she was unwell or celebrate her birthdays? She stated, "I'm not sure if it'll be just physical or if I'll date them, but whatever happens, I love you and only you. They'd only be fillers in your absence. When you return, I'll be all yours." I questioned how long this would last, a few years or forever. She claimed she had not made a decision. I then inquired whether she had previously cheated on me. She snapped back saying, "No, if I were cheating, I would not be having this conversation. I would do it behind your back. I value honesty." In her opinion, opening the marriage was preferable to infidelity. I inquired whether I had any say in this. She claimed she had made up her mind and would go insane otherwise. My head was throbbing. I informed her that I needed time to consider. She agreed and hung up without saying goodbye. The strange part was that I had only returned home a few weeks before, and now she had delivered this bombshell. The next day, I questioned why she hadn't told me in person. She stated that she did not feel the need for other males when I was home. I questioned her again whether she genuinely wanted this and had considered the repercussions. Without hesitation, she replied yes. I inquired about the setup. Could I see other ladies, how long this would go, and how monies would be handled? She stated, "I don't think too hard about it. I want someone to look after my needs while you're gone. When you arrive, it will be just us as normal. You can try things while in port. But why would you need other women once you're back? I'll be there." She added, "We'll start like way and adjust as we go. Maybe once I've finished investigating, we'll close it and return to normal." I informed her, "This is not what I wanted. I desired a monogamous marriage. But since you've made your decision, I won't stop you. Just don't expect me to accept it without consequences." She laughed and asked, "What will you do about it?" I told her, "First, you'll manage your expenses. I'm discontinuing donations to our joint account. Second, we will break off communication. I don't want to phone or text you when you're busy. Third, I might see other women without your consent." She giggled and said, "I knew you'd come. I'm already feeling excited. This will be enjoyable. You won't go too far. How could you abandon such beauty?" Then, she began undressing herself. I shut her off. "My terms apply from now on." "Have fun," I said before hanging up. That was it for me. I stopped answering her calls and texts and began constructing my own life. She started posting images from her vacations and date evenings. Even though she left the boys out of the picture, no one is a fool. A selfie featuring rose petals, candles, and 2 wine glasses speaks for itself. One day, her sister texted me. She and her mother were concerned about Sharon and asked if I knew what was happening. I told her the truth. Sharon opened our marriage without my permission because she was lonely. Sharon did blow up my phone afterwards, but who cares? My vacation starts next week. I asked my brother to get me an apartment. I told him the truth, and my parents now know. I hired a lawyer and we discussed my situation. When I return to town, I'll meet with him to discuss this further. I'm not in a hurry. I want to poison her gently. I have my plans. I didn't return to the house. My brother had built a new apartment for me, and he and his wife welcomed me for a few days. I took my niece and nephew on a weekend camping excursion. I then spent time with my parents in the old town, resting and catching up with school friends and neighbors. I shared my actions on social media for Sharon to see. My shore leave was spent with family and friends and partying with senior officials from my group. Not everyone can get in, but these are the most popular events in town. Sharon adored them and always looked forward to attending. I did not hesitate to upload party photos with women in them. When people asked about Sharon, I told them the truth. Everyone in my friend group quickly learned about her. Some acquaintances even made unwanted advances toward her. Everyone wanted a free ride. Sharon initially approved of my family photos. She messaged me, asking where I was staying and why I had yet to go home. Then her tone changed to, "I'll give you space. I'll wait for you." But she lost it when she saw me having fun at those events. She asked, "Why did you desert me? Didn't we vow to return to monogamy when you returned to town?" After months, I finally responded to her, "I didn't agree to anything. You did what you wanted and now I'm doing what I want." She said, "Okay, I'll wait for you to return when you're finished." She felt she could emotionally manipulate me after all this. From then on, I concentrated on reconstructing my life. I joined a badminton club, played doubles for 2 hours, and went swimming. I finally started an upskilling course that I had been putting off for a while. While she was out discovering her freedom, I was busy developing a new routine. There's nothing more satisfying than checking off those boxes. I started going to the gym regularly, getting out more frequently, and reconnecting with old acquaintances. I was not interested in vengeance or tit-for-tat relationships. I wanted to rediscover myself outside of a marriage I had not expected. I could not be happier or healthier. My life genuinely became better. Sharon contacted me again in the 4th month of my stay to schedule a meeting. She wanted to discuss the rules for an open marriage. I was not interested. I told her, "You are free to do whatever you want. I am not playing this game with you." She saw me creating a new and better life without her. She couldn't help but send me an email saying, "Let's get back to monogamy. I'm done with this." As if it were a door you could open and close whenever you wanted. I said, "Ha, that's it," and continued with my life. She arrived one day and announced my apartment. She appeared anxious and out of place as she stood in the doorway, questioning why I remained there rather than returning home. I responded, "Because I have no intention of living with someone who doesn't respect our marriage." She didn't like my answer and added, "I thought we could figure this out." I responded, "You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." She burst into tears, saying everyone in her social circle was ignoring her and not inviting her to their gatherings. My buddies and their wives distanced themselves from Sharon, which irritated her. Their wives were formerly good friends of Sharon's, but no one wanted a bad apple, so they abandoned her. I said, "You reap what you sow." She urged us to attend couples counseling and focus on our marriage. I laughed out loud at her proposal. She asked, "What do you want then?" I replied, "You'll find out soon." With sad eyes, she asked, "You met someone, right? You love her, don't you? Are you effing her?" I laughed harder and added, "Keep guessing." She begged for an answer, and I roared, "Get out!" She eventually departed, stating that I would regret betraying her confidence. I frequently contacted my lawyer, and the paperwork was almost complete. However, I wanted to serve her while I was sailing, leaving her defenseless and unable to come to my apartment. My attorney served her on the day I left the shore. She called me in a panic, stating I had betrayed her and left her broken. She called my lawyer and said that she would fight until the end but would not divorce me. She contacted my parents, portraying herself as the victim. She informed them that I had blinded her. Little did she realize that my parents had already discovered the truth. They chastised and cut her off. Her mother soon called me. Sharon had informed everyone that we were both committed to opening the marriage. Though they found it twisted, they recognized it as our own choice. I countered, "No way. I had already told your other daughter about Sharon's truth. I was never on board with this filthy idea." She informed me Sharon's mental health had been severely impacted by everyone cutting her off and excluding her from high-profile events and gatherings. These things spread like wildfire, and if she isn't connected to me, why would she be accepted into my social circle? Her mother wondered if there was any prospect of reconciliation. I replied, "Not at all. I can't be the husband of a woman who has kept her legs open for tourists for the last year. Who knows what kind of dirt has gone in there?" She told me Sharon was not ready for divorce. I replied, "The longer she resists, the more painful it is for her because I'm moving forward with my life and she's not going to like it, so talk to her and ask her to cooperate for her own sake. Right now, I'm getting a lot of SMS and voicemails from her, pleading and begging. I have yet to block her, but I will do so shortly. Until then, I want to see her. I'm having my shore break again, and the divorce proceedings are still progressing. Sharon has vigorously opposed it. The problem is that she is no longer financially stable. The bright new world she imagined was not as glamorous as hoped. The men she had been seeing were merely looking for a good time. She sobbed in front of the magistrate and admitted that opening the marriage was a mistake. She wished to return to the way things were, as if nothing had happened. After I stopped subsidizing her lifestyle, she depleted her resources trying to support herself. Within a year, she had depleted everything. Her teaching salary is insufficient to buy her even a Zara dress. When you're accustomed to a luxury lifestyle, there's no turning back, right? When she opened up about the marriage and I withdrew my financial support, she assumed it was only temporary. She felt she could manage with her savings and that I would someday return to support her lifestyle. That was her plan: practice monogamy at home and enjoy her independence when I was away. Her strategy backfired. I made her decision final. She has asked for another opportunity at each court appearance. She even wanted to return to the way things were before this chaos. It was easy for her to say, "Let's start over." But I couldn't forget the humiliation and anguish I had experienced. The first 6 months after she revealed the news to me were horrible. She intentionally brought this up just after I began my deployment, giving herself 6 months until I returned. How could I forget the dark days amid the ocean? There aren't many distractions. You stare at the vast water and sulk. You may even feel compelled to immerse yourself in it. I can't even describe how difficult it was to deal with the stress. Anyway, the divorce is almost finalized. Just one more court date. The asset partition is complete, and it is fair. I am going to sell my house. I don't want to return to a situation where she damaged our marriage at every turn. She can't have it either because she can't afford to pay even half the amount. That's okay. I don't want to hang on to anything from my past. I have fallen in love with my new life. I've been thriving, meeting new people, establishing a consistent schedule, and enjoying the freedom of life on my terms. I'm not bitter. I'm grateful I didn't let her decisions destroy my future. I'm not actively hunting for new individuals, but open to meeting them. Sharon has been blocked on all my social media sites, yet she continues stalling me using new ones. I can always find her, but I let her peep into my life to see what she has lost. Once packed with photographs of high-profile events, exotic vacations, and private beaches, her Instagram feed is now only full of melancholy phrases. That is what you get for breaking a steady marriage. That's all for today's video. If you appreciated or found the story intriguing, please give it a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And before you go, please subscribe to our channel. We're on a mission to get 1,000 subscribers, and we can't do it without you. Your support means everything to us. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.